Hi guys, Asian here. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a webcam now, and to celebrate my 100 likes on Facebook, I bought myself a mic. Yeah, and also not forgetting that we have 20 subscribers now in our YouTube. anyway, Anyway, I promised you guys some local content, and the problem that I was facing is I didn't know what kind of match that I wanted to review. But after giving it a lot of thought, that AMPRo Series Championship was just around the corner, and I feel like since it was last month, and some teams were messaging me regarding about the Grandfinals matches, like Goodfellas against Alpha Q, like they say that something was it a draft problem, like oh Goodfellas outdrafted Alpha Q, that's the reason why the games are like that. And to be honest, there was that was probably one of the minimal problems that they had. If I had to compare like Brunei teams with championship teams, honestly, I don't know. For example, a championship M1, M2, M3 has gone up to 3 times, and when I first got to ML 2 months ago, I was thinking that the level of Mobile Legends has improved exponentially, and I felt like I'm gonna see some really good macro players, rotations, and decisions. Not so much on drafting, because I feel like this game is super flexible. But when I had to compare with Brunei teams currently, I felt like Brunei teams is actually pretty good. And the only problem that they had was probably, well, latency is one of them right now, especially now. But in terms of macro play, that's the part that they're only lacking. But that being said, M3 teams are also having the same issue. Basically, they don't know what their win conditions. I don't know if you guys seen my last 2 videos before that I made. I kind of showed it to you guys, and even if there some a team that qualified to championship, but they still had problems with macro plays, and they don't understand their win condition. And in terms of mechanics, Brunei team pretty much have what it takes to be one of the top teams in the world, if given the chance to do so. So let's get back to this. This is basically a match where Goodfellas versus Alpha Q. This is just game 1, because I don't think we have I don't want to go to game 2 or game 3. I suppose if you guys do want me to review it, feel free to comment, and maybe I'll consider it. So if you guys do like this content that I made, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe maybe for more updates. Okay, so we're pretty much going to skip this ban phase, and I don't want to get too much into this, because I felt like if we're gonna talk about pick and ban phase, it's pretty much gonna be a long video. Which both teams right now, they don't have an actual high ground champion, unlike Farsa or Yves. So they're basically playing the standard zoning champions like Lilia or Loyi. So we're gonna talk more about Alpha Q on what they could have done better in this game, because this is basically has nothing to do with comp problems. This is more towards like how they decide to do their early game plan, such as macro play. So it's pretty obvious that Paquido's puffing is going to bot side, while Nathan puffing is going to top side, right? So the question is right now that what teams usually do is, who will get the Little Wonder? Because the Little Wonder right now is spawning next to Paquido. So for them to decide who gets the Little Wonder is depending on who gets the advantage at mid. Currently right now, Lilia and Angela pretty much have the same poke and push. It's similar to Alpha Q as well. Alpha Q has Loyi and Matilda. So basically they also do have the poke and push for the wave. So they're trying to contest for Prior right now. So let's see what happens here. I don't really exactly remember this game. So let's watch it together, and I'll show it to you guys why Alpha Q could have won if they actually play the early game properly, but because they didn't. So that's the reason why GFS got this in the bag. So as you can see right now, Loyi is actually okay, shoving the wave normally. Matilda is trying to like zone people out. She got a really nice poke on Angela, but this is the part where Loyi is doing something wrong. When there are no minion waves on the lane, there was basically no reason for him to move sideways to Matilda. Matilda can always run up here. So that way, Lilia won't be able to put some damage on her while Angela still needs to chase her. They are still winning in trades. So basically, Loi actually knows that Lilia is inside this bush. And Lilia can actually see that Loi is actually moving towards Matilda. Obviously, Lilia is not going to show herself. She's just going to wait there. But when Loi decided to move, this is where she gets poked. Now, you can see that Pakido is actually already finishing his purple buff. So that means that because Lilia was able to damage Loi right here, it makes total sense that Pakido is gonna get this little wanderer. That's it. But if you see in this clip, where after Loi was chunked down to 10% HP, and then look at Nathan. Like, Nathan knows that Lilia is inside this bush, but he chooses to walk here. And the problem is, there is this thing here. It explodes if he just passes through this thing. So let's see what he does, okay? So this is the part that I don't understand. When you know you don't have priority at mid, when you know that you lost that priority at mid, and you still want to fight that little wanderer, you basically just wasted your time. What he could have done was, he could have done this, okay? If he didn't fight for this little wanderer, he could have walked straight through here and start the bear. Didn't take any damage. Sure, Loi did make a mistake. That shouldn't even happen, by the way. In this condition, people think that getting the little wanderer is probably the most important advantage. But when you have champions like Nathan that requires a lot of scaling, you want to make sure that you get the most efficient farm as soon as possible to get to level 4. He should have done this. He should have took his purple buff, move all the way to the bear, here, and then get this one. Boom. At this point, he's already level 4. If he just ignored the little wanderer, he wouldn't have not lost his HP. So all they had to do was just try to make sure that Nathan had a really good, successful first jungle rotation for him to hit level 4. That way, he has this ulti, he can start clearing jungle camps much faster, he can start opening opportunities to gank. For example, that if, as you can see, Claude right here, up here, he's already pushed, right? The moment Nathan reaches this beetle, he actually has an opportunity to gank, providing Glue was still healthy. So when that didn't happen for him, as you can see, he walked up to this exploding Lilia and then Paquito managed to get in one punch. So that kind of slows down for him. As you can see right now, Paquito didn't even use Retribution for that. So he can actually move to his next camp, and you'll be able to see that Nathan will still stay at level 3 while Paquito is already at level 4 after the orange buff. Yeah, so at this point, right, Angela knew that Nathan was already delayed. He will only get level 4 once he killed this beetle. So he knows basically that how jungle path works. So jungle pretty much is a mirror. So if you see, it's almost the same position where the enemy jungler is. Unless Nathan just keep the little wanderer and start. So he'll be not one camp faster, but he won't be delaying any camps. So basically he's doing the same number of camps with the enemy. That way he doesn't waste his time. He reached level 4 the same way as Paquito would. The only thing that he didn't got was the little wanderer, which is no big deal. We can see here that Paquito will hit level 4 and Nathan still stays at level 3. You can see right here, Paquito is level 4, Nathan is level 3. This basically puts Paquito at a very good position where he already has his ultimate. He can actually gank champions there who's trying to face check him. Because this is pretty normal for champions to face check. Because they know that, oh, Paquito is definitely nearby. And Angela actually knows that Nathan is actually close by. So she's trying to delay as much as possible that she can before Nathan hits level 4. So as you can see, Angela is actually already delaying Nathan to hit level 4. And we can see Paquito is hiding here. Okay, so this is the funny part. Beatrix actually know that Paquito was already puffing bot lane. There was no minion wave right here for her. There was no reason for her to be in this position. She should be here. because she shouldn't be pushing. She knows that the jungler was already there. Sorry, I have to put law circles because this is the kind of mistakes that a lot of players do. Like they ignore for the fact that Paquito is somewhere bot lane, but she probably think that this is okay to do since she still has flicker and she could probably escape it anyway. But wasting your summon spell like that is not that good, especially when you know that a fight is gonna break out, and if you don't have flicker, you know that the enemy is gonna punish you again and again and again and again. And I'm pretty sure this Beatrix here is pretty much dead. She didn't even manage to use a flicker because at that point of time she probably didn't notice he was there. Okay, when this turtle fight should have been Alpha Q's turtle, but Glue is right here, Matilda is right here. They wanted to zone people out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with zoning people out, but if you're letting Nathan to tank all this and not setting up for a flank, then I'm not so sure why this was forced in the first place. They could have just reset this. And in actual fact, if Matilda didn't move from this spot, Goodfellas has no vision knowing where Matilda and Loi is. This gives a lot of opportunity for Loi and Matilda to surprise, but instead Matilda just moves. She just keeps showing herself where she is, where her position is. So when Paquito moves in, right, obviously Paquito's gonna see all this because Angela sees her now, and even she even sees Glue. So Paquito can just walk up all the way to this bush and then try to see the HP of the turtle. Imagine if Loi and Matilda stayed in this bush and then Paquito started to walk up to this area. They would have been able to chunk him down, and then they would have no choice but to retreat from this turtle objective, and they would have gotten this for free. Glue can stick around this vicinity to make sure that they won't be able to zone Nathan out or going this side to check for this bush. So if only they were able to do that, this turtle objective would have been theirs. Paquito was pretty lucky here. He managed to steal this turtle, which isn't supposed to happen, but because they know where their positions are, that's the reason why this went a bit awkward. So they lost this fight already. Basically, they lost the turtle. There was no reason for them to actually stay and fight because currently right now, Goodfellas are actually in a much stronger position. Claude already hits level 4. So he just have to come here and ult all of these guys. This is a pretty risky fight by Alpha Q. And you don't take 50-50 fights like this, especially when you're playing a scaling comp. You have double marksman, one of the best damages like late game. Nathan and Beatrix. So you want to make sure that they will be able to scale in this game comfortably before you start doing skirmishes. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't fight. But instead, try to find trades that are much better for you. Try to find trades that are more beneficial for you so that so your goal difference is not that far. It doesn't have to be a really good trade. It doesn't have to be a winning trade. It can be like almost an even trade. More or less that if you lose a couple of hundred gold, it's fine. It's much better than losing 3,000 gold, 4,000 gold out of an advantage just because you want to contest every single objective that your opponent is doing. So let's take a look at this. So yep. So Claude is just gonna dance around and just kill people, and Loi died even after she used her flicker. If they were able to disengage that fight immediately, they would have probably survived that. And the fact that Loi apparently still level 3 and Lilia is level 4 is already a bad sign because she's losing one wave from trying to capitalize that to the objective. That is something that teams need to be aware of, where they shouldn't be fighting all the time. Like there's probably a level difference, there's probably a item difference, and then you're forcing a fight. If you can see down here, right, this is them trying to set up for a push or possibly a dive because they have numbers advantage. Now the problem here right now is the minion wave is here. In order for them to do this dive is they need to clear the waves. The good thing about Mobile Legends is every wave there's always a cannon minion wave. There's a cannon minion wave every single time. So that means that your dives are depending on how you see the wave and how you manage the wave. So in this case, right, if they wanted to do this dive this early, they shouldn't be going this direction. What they should have done was they should have gone this direction to cut off to cut off the wave from here. That way, they can wait for this wave. They can wait for this wave to reach here, and then they can collapse on either one of them who stayed. But normally, good players would just retreat and just trade for an objective. As you can see that good feathers were already up here. They are trying to get the EXP lane tower instead. So there was no reason for them to actually protect the bot tower at all. Like, they could just leave this and just trade for an objective. But since AlphaQ made a mistake that they didn't try to cut off the wave, instead they're trying to go they're trying to knock the front door instead, and they kind of have to wait. We can see this. They kind of have to wait, and then you can see okay, I remember this. Okay, so the wave wasn't cut off, right? So they met in the middle of it, and obviously Lilia's gonna try as fast as she can to push that wave, and you can see Beatrix already uses her ult. So they could have used that for her to dive, but because this was not properly set up, and she wanted to clear the wave as fast as she can, so that she's basically forcing a dive, and this is very bad because you just waste one ult that could have killed them anyway. And then Matilda was like, oh, we have to dive right now, because this is pretty much desperation move right now from them. They want to make sure that they get something out of this, because the candy minion wave right now is pretty low HP. Not so sure how much gold tower they're gonna get, so they're trying to force this dive. But because this was exploded by Lilia immediately, so there was no cannon minion wave, and then she almost died, and then Matilda almost died, and then now the dive doesn't happen, so it stopped. It wasn't executed properly. So remember, so if you want to do a dive, make sure that either one, you have numbers advantage, two, you cut off the wave before you proceed with the dive, or three, if you want to move with the wave while crashing, you have to make sure that you'll be able to clear the wave together as fast as possible before. So it's either you forcing the enemy to retreat so that you can get the tower plating, or you cut off the wave and funnel them, make them not able to run away from you and stay at the tower, or they have to burn their battle spell, so they have to flicker out. So because this was poorly executed, now they managed to get a lot of gold plating up there, and Claude managed to get some farm in the middle as well, because Lilia was trying to clear wave at bot, because Popol and Koopa had to retreat, because just now he did got chunked a little bit. So because of that mistake and not able to kill him properly with a proper dive, so now they are going back, resetting, and then try to actually go back to lane summon, because they still know that they need to break the top tower. But at this point, right, we can see that Turtle is actually spawning in 9 seconds. So both teams had a choice. Like, okay, right now they know that they probably won't be able to defend top anymore, because Loi should be going to mid trying to defend a wave, or set up for the Turtle objective. But let's see what they do here. I can't remember what they actually do here. Let's see. Okay, so Loi moves mid, and then wait, how did she got chunked? How did she got chunked so fast? Oh wait, Kilo is level 7. Oh my goodness. Okay, so apparently apparently Paquito caught Matilda, right? Oh, okay. Mobile Legends don't actually have wards, so they kind of use their support champs, or what they call roamers, to open up the map for them, to see, like, to make sure that they don't get surprised and then they just die from that. But the problem with Matilda right now is all the lanes that they had are not pushed beyond the river, and when you want to fight for vision, you have to make sure that you have the advantage in terms of push. So currently right now, as you can see, Matilda is moving way too far away from Nathan or Loi. Nathan and Loi isn't even close by. So she basically went to the enemy jungle. And obviously Paquito's there. And then she immediately got burst. Because Paquito is level 7 and she's just level 4. And she doesn't even have any flickers, so she just dies. So that was a really bad mistake by Matilda. If you guys want to fight for vision, make sure that you guys have prior in terms of minion wave. So if your team is pushing past a certain point, then you can push a little bit of your vision. But at the same time, you want to make sure that if you're pushing for vision, there has to be a reason why you're doing that, because your partner is basically behind you, trying to back you up if there is anything going to happen or any fight is going to break out. So this looks like a pretty much free turtle for Goodfellas, just because of what Matilda did. As you can see, Lilia was ready to actually catch anyone who tries to walk towards the turtle from that side. So at this point, they pretty much have no choice but to give this turtle for free. If Nathan was able to jungle much more comfortably early game, I don't think they would have this kind of problems. So they managed to get top tower now. When this happens, right? The thing about jungling is, the reason why this first tower is so important, because it doesn't open the map up to this point. When first towers are down, it pretty much opens up that map. But before the first towers are down, this is the only zone that they can open. This is the reason why you do not want to lose your first tower in a short period amount of time, because you want to make sure that champions like Nathan will able to farm through the jungle again and again, so that he can scale much better pre 5 minutes. As you can see that this... Oh, I almost missed this one. I almost missed this one. Okay. So sometimes it's important to reset. Like, she already shoved the wave, right? If Beatrix just reset, like she resets from here, she just recalls, go back to base and run all the way top, she would have been able to catch this wave and then change lane assignment to glue going to bot lane. That way, Nathan will be able to start puffing towards bot side, and maybe they can try to capitalize this. But instead, two of them try to walk in an area where they don't see where Lilia is. So that's the reason why Lilia was able to do to chunk them down and force them to actually not able to contest anything. Okay, let's see what happens here. If you can reset and try to get much more farm as much as possible, but they almost died from here. But even if they didn't die, they pretty much can't do anything at this point. And it was pretty much a free push for Popo and Koopa if he chooses to push. But right now he's in the mid. He's trying to make sure that he is able to take down the mid tower, probably chunking it bit by bit, although he can't. But he also has his choice to move bot. So Claude is moving bot right now. They're trying to defend mid. Alpha Q tries to defend mid right now, but it's pretty difficult because they pretty much have to stick as 5. There's no place to farm for Nathan. Yeah. So basically he can't do anything. The only cap that he can go is this one. But there's pretty much nothing for him at this point. So they're just trying to defend as much as possible. But you can see that from here, their comp is more towards split pushing, and at this point their levels up much higher than Alpha Q is. Nathan is still level 7. Kido is like level 10. Like, that's 3 levels ahead. Romus should be on the same level because they don't really gain any XP from laners. You can see Beatrix is level 7, but Claude is level 9. You can see Lilia is level 8 and Loi is level 7. So they have the advantage to split push into Alpha Q. This point, Alpha Q is having really difficult time because they don't actually have any high ground. At this point, they pretty much can't defend anything. So this kind of shows more on why early game planning is so important, especially when you have a comp such as Alpha Q. This tower is actually pretty low already, so this is pretty obvious that the next wave would determine this. But if Alpha Q wants to defend this first tower, right, they need to make sure that their side lanes are cleared up. Then they can group up here again. So this is basically a reset game every single time. They know that if they lose all first turrets, that means that this jungle is not owned by them anymore. So you want to avoid that all the time. Okay, let's see what happens. And then Claude is also pushing bot. So they're working on a timer right now. They're waiting for this bottom wave to hit the bottom tower. So right now Popo is also pushing top here. This is already push. And then right now they have to get a mid with the next wave to make the fight uneven. So it becomes a 4v2 fight or 4v3 fight. So now they're pushing. They should be able to get this one. They should be able to get this one for free. So once it only left with second tower, right, they kind of have to wait for waves to hit before they start clearing it up. So the farm source is funneled only for minion waves. It's pretty much dangerous for them to actually farm jungle camps after that. So that was the aim for Goodfellas at this point. So Claude is getting the second tower. Oh, that's even worse actually. Once you get the second tower, the jungle is not your area anymore. And now they also lost top. So the only left standing right now is the mid. And then Claude uses his ult. So for this part, right? For this part, they saw him here. They saw him here. So they pretty much are in trouble. So and Lilia is here pushing this wave. So basically I would say it's pretty difficult for them to do anything at this point. Like they pretty much have to get out of here because right now they're gonna get sandwiched. And then this fight, okay, you know you lost 2 members of your team and now you're forcing a skirmish. I'm pretty sure in Alpha Q's head is, oh, there's my orange buff, let's go get that orange buff, I need it. But it's kind of not worth it because this is already being pushed. He could have gotten this for free, but he didn't want that. I mean, this wave was also pushing. As you can see, bot wave is also pushing. Imagine if they lost this fight. They would have pretty much lost this tower, possibly lost this tower as well. So if you don't have any numbers advantage, it's best that you don't take the skirmish and try to recover the situation or just reset back, go to your lanes and just try to farm it out. But really at this position I know it's pretty difficult, but if you're gonna make the best out of every situation, fighting is not making the best out of this situation. So they fought and I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna die here. Okay, and Paquito was like boom boom. Okay, so he didn't get anyone. Oh, okay, so they did still got glue. And at this point it was pretty much oh they got Nathan too. So this was pretty much what happens when you don't have numbers advantage and your items down, you don't have enough levels even. And so obviously GF is gonna get that tower for free. This is free. If they have Lord, there's a pretty good chance that you will lose all these turrets. There's a pretty good chance. But when the second load comes and if they don't win any fights, for example, they at this point you kind of have to fight. You know, you pretty much don't have any choice. Like there's no such thing as like, oh, let's just scale up, guys. It's pretty too late for that. It's pretty much too late for that. Okay, let's see. You can see that they pretty much are pretty scared to face check anything. You can see Nathan was trying to like second skill there, and then and then they really have to be careful because Lilia here could easily burst them from 100 to 0 in like a few spells. So they can't do much here. Like this is 100% free lord, and the moment they know that Lilia was protecting this objective, there was no reason for them to actually do anything. They probably even have to abandon this blue buff at this point. Yep. So they abandoned it. There was a free buff. Oh, sorry, my pen is still there. Okay. So what happens here is that Lord is pushing. They should be able to get this. They should be able to get this mid tower at least. At least because all lanes are pushing. All lanes are pushing right now. There's a possibility that Goodfellas would have just Kappa jumped in and tried to fight, right? But if they maintain this kind of push and try not to overcommit to anything and making sure that taking that how you say that super minion is more important. Because Alpha Q right now don't really have any higher ground champions to defend, so they can just take their time, slowly push towers, and once they got that tower they can move out. And then as you can see, Claude just starts to like out the end, blah 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 blah, blah, and so they will be able to get this top tower for free. But Pakido made a mistake here and he just dropped, and I think that is something that he did overcommitting and it shouldn't happen. So FLQ actually took advantage of that. So this fight, there's a possibility they could still able to defend, but it's at this point it was pretty difficult. I mean, if the Lord was spawning out exactly when they were able to kill and defend this would have been so worth it. And Claude pretty much have high damage. I think he ended this game right here, ignoring all the champions attacking him, and boom. Yep. So as you can see, right, this game, Alpha Q comp wasn't the issue here. They could have basically focused on scaling first, giving Nathan the comfortable position to do his first jungle rotation. They probably should have just ignored the little one and finish his whole camps. Two, taking some resets, recalling back to base and coming back to push wave, it's fine. Sticking to your win conditions where you trade objectives. You know that if you can't fight, you don't fight, you just trade. If the enemy is on the opposite side of the map, you should be on the opposite side of the map to actually get a different trade. Sometimes trades aren't even, but either you lose 8,000 gold or you just lose maybe 1,000 gold. As long as you know that you have the better late game, you'll be able to get that gold back. 1,000 gold difference is not that huge in this game. You can easily get that back. Okay, I think that's about it. I hope that is pretty helpful, and if you guys think that is something that you like to see, please do comment down below and tell me what you guys want, and hopefully maybe I'll be able to review it and I'll be able to show you guys what is good and what is helpful. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up and probably subscribe for more updates. I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks.